So we were off to South Africa again, this time to see Jean for her 100th birthday, and the rest of the time we were going to be spending with family and friends in Cape Town, and then heading off to Durban to see Sal's mom, Joy. So recently we had Fiji time, and now we've got Africa time, because the guys aren't here to pick us up. We've been awake for 26 hours, and now we're waiting for the transport, who's on his way, but he's been on his way for half an hour. So, welcome to South Africa. Look at this, Sal, in the middle of Joburg, Outlook Lodge. It's very pretty, isn't it, hey?
It's beautiful. It's actually in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you see the nice thatch roof.
Yep. Gorgeous.
Typical South African, eh? After a good night's rest at Outlook Lodge, we were really happily on our way to Cape Town, and it wasn't long before Brent and Lou picked us up and we were heading towards our favourite mountain and then onto our accommodation in Granger Bay that even came with its own owl. Lou, what did you say?
Another shitty day in Africa. Pretty much.
The next day, February 29th, we were heading off to Somerset West to celebrate Jean's 100th birthday. It was just a fantastic, fantastic day with all the family joining in the celebrations, and it was just brilliant how it's as though we'd never been apart and just had the most brilliant day. There you are. 1 for 100.
Yeah.
1 for 100.
So every day I guess we have to give her a picture.
Yeah, that's well done.
That's good.
It was so great to have spent that special time with Jean and the family, but as always, it was time to go.
There's Daryl.
The next day we were up early and heading towards Fishhook via Chapman's Peak Drive.
That's your view.
Still beautiful.
Part of the enjoyment of Fishhook is the hustle and bustle and the characters who live and work there.
This is pretty here, hey?
Yes.
Hey. What kind of a bird is it?
Yes.
Cormorant.
Bird. It's a common bird.
So this was a catch today, was it?
Yes, mademoiselle. That was a nice one.
You think it's going to get it all in?
The cormorants aren't the only ones looking for scraps, and certainly this big seal was taking his chance, although he found himself on the wrong end of the broom.
He's after the food, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at these guys.
See the little one?
Oh, it's going to come up.
The jumper.
Here we go. Here we go. Yes.
Oh.
After all that, all he wanted to do was get to the top so that he could jump in again. Just typical teenager behavior.
Say that.
After a walk along the pier and a fantastic lunch, it was time to get down to some serious bargaining.
It's very nice, those ones.
What are you doing? Are you trying to sell us something?
Yeah, I
Hey?
see this bag and this is my sister making
That's nice.
these ones.
Doing a good job, man.
Should I have this one? It's a little bit less bright.
I think he's a good salesman.
This one, good factory.
Now, Breeze, now you buying. Celine, look what you've done to your. Look what you've done to Brent and Luna.
Good business. I'm bringing it in.
I want to see
He decided, but he cannot decide now because he's thinking to buy.
Yeah. Where are we going?
So, Sal, what did you do? You drew?
I drew 1,000 this morning.
Yeah.
And now 2 hours later, I'm out and I owe Lou 100.
You and Lou with his first sale for the day. Well done.
Yeah, good.
Doing your bit.
Yeah, Simeon is very happy.
Hey, mate.
We were then heading back to Cape Town and our apartment for a beverage or two and a meal. The next day, we set off for an estate called Rainbow's End, not before a fantastic breakfast that cost nearly nothing. And then we were off to the estate, which was just situated in such a beautiful area of the world. The marketing photographs say it all, and the wine was truly fantastic. The wine tasting took place in this beautiful house. I think this is actually part of their living room and where they had their meals, and we really were looking forward to the tasting. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Let's first go back to where we met Jana, who took us on a fantastic tour of how they actually make the wine.
The grapes come in small little lug boxes. We don't put them into big bins because big bins crush the grapes before they get to us. So from the lug boxes, Granville over there loads them into the destemmer by hand, which is also a very gentle process. Then they go through the destemmer, and then over here they are being sorted. So all the bits of green leaves and stems, the things we don't want to ferment, they are picked out from the sorting table. So the stems go to the one side, from the sorting table straight into tank. Where two very important things happen within the first 20 minutes. One is we introduce dry ice cubes to these boxes, to these tanks. Cools off the juice completely because we don't want to ferment immediately. We want to do a cold soak first. The cold soak is just for better extraction, a slower process as well. Because with wine, the slower you go, the better the product.
Taste how sweet that is. Taste how sweet that is.
So the bees are attracted to the wine. Skins are
That's sweet, eh?
Yeah.
The wines we tasted were superb, and I must say it was fantastic because Jana filled the glasses up quite considerably. So a lot of fun was had, I must say.
This is underground, so you can feel it's naturally very humid in here.
Yes, yes.
Because it's next to the stream, we do not have to artificially humidify this area.
Brent, don't touch the barrels, eh? Am I supposed to say something now? No, don't touch the barrels.
It was then off for lunch and some words of wisdom from our old Boet.
Okay, Brent.
Yeah,
So what can't you order at a wine farm?
anything but beer.
That's exactly right. Don't order beer.
Doesn't make sense. You can go to a fish restaurant and you can order steak. Yeah? You can go to a
we
steak
were wine
restaurant, you can go to
district.
the Spur and you can order fish.
I don't think it works here in the
Don't see
wine
the
land.
difference.
Rhodes Memorial was a must visit, and especially scones and tea at the famous restaurant. Everyone thought I was mad because it was about 38 degrees in the shade. And then we were heading off to the waterfront to meet up with Chris, Tanya and Craig. Sadly, it was time to leave Cape Town, and Chris recommended we go via Swellendam, which was just a beautiful route, I must say. And then in George, we stayed with Ingrid and Glenn.
Right, you girls all ready?
Oh my.
Hey?
Bright sunlight, wait. Oh, we don't do bright sunlight, we do shadows. Bright sunlight.
Hey?
We can delete.
You know, in my youth, we used to drive past Kaimansgat crossing every time we came down to the Cape, and I've always marveled at how beautiful it is. And I've always wanted to go and get in the water, and now, finally, all those years later, I've had my chance.
You did a great job up front there, Sal.
It's a front wheel drive. We've got a front wheel drive.
It's front wheel drive.
Now you're in. Wow, yeah, look at that.
Good.
Definite four-wheel drive now.
Is it forming, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, clever dick. Up. No good? Alright, so we're going in on the right, eh? This will tell if it's a weight issue or a rock issue.
You guys should be able to get through. My fat butt.
I would just say that
right a bit, son.
like that?
Yeah, I think it was your fat butt.
Yeah. Without doubt.
Hang on.
Maybe
There
not
we are.
so much fat butt.
There we are.
Lunch was served outside, and I must say it was fantastic. And if you like gin, South Africa is the place to get it, because on the Aussie dollar, it's pretty much for free. The guy who took our photograph decided that it would be better if he took it from inside the building. So it was brilliant. In fact, on the last photograph, he got himself in it as well. On leaving Glenn and Ingrid, we headed up to Port Elizabeth to catch our flight to Durban. It didn't help that the aircon in the car gave out because it was 36 odd degrees. We stopped off at Buffalo's Bay just to have a bit of a relax and something to eat. I must say the view was better than the food. And then we were heading off to Durban, where we'd be spending some time with Joy.
He's got your banana.
You can't
See.
leave the doors open.
He came in when we just had our backs turned, hey?
Do you want to peel it for him? Living in Africa.
They're all over the place.
It was really strange not having Stan there with us, but every day we would go up to this little garden and just sit there in quiet reflection and remember what a fantastic guy Stan used to be. But of course, no visit to the Webbies could go without a visit to Mpiti for their world-famous breakfast. And of course, a photo opportunity.
It's a South African pothole. Half the road's fallen away and they're going to fix it. So it happened in March last year. So, well, it's only been a year, so I guess that's a good thing. They'll get to it shortly, I'm sure. Anyway, it's well signposted.
Of course, when travelling, there's always going to be an opportunity to shop. And all of us obviously got great joy and satisfaction out of this enterprise. However, in Africa, there's always going to be something that is going to surprise you. And just look at this, Impala in a golf resort. Not to mention what I think are really the comedians of this South African bushveld, the guinea fowl. Ducks, of course, are a different story, and all they were after was some food. As you can imagine, the time went by quickly, and we said farewell to Stan's tree, had a couple of photographs and a lot of laughs, looked at the wildlife, marveled at how cheap alcohol is in South Africa, and of course a visit to South Africa and Joy and Stan wouldn't be the same without a visit to the wrecked heron. And then of course we marveled at Joy's ability to eat sweet things. I never thought she'd be able to get it down, but she certainly did. And then it was time to do a little bit of extra shopping because we were about to head back to Australia that had started to be affected by COVID.
I think this will be enough, hey?